Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee Break, the show where we break down interesting topics, all within the time it takes you to enjoy a few cups of coffee. My name is Clifford Swartz, and today I am joined by two very special guests. One, we have in the studio with me, Jeanette. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am excited to get started. And then one through the power of the internet, Anand. How are you feeling?
Doing good, Clifford and Jeanette. How are you? How are you both doing?
We're good. We're pretty stoked about this. So these two lovely people are here to talk to all of you lovely people about our security webinar series, Shields Up. But before we dive into that, I'm going to throw it over to the booth, to my favorite Kiwi, Michael Pierce, and he's going to tell all of you people how to participate. How you doing, Michael?
Good, thank you, and you finally got it right.
I finally got it right.
So welcome, everyone. We're streaming live around the world on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and definitely looking forward to today's discussion, and I'm really happy to be back. So please submit your questions in the chat, and we will attempt to answer them. If we don't get to answer them, please email us at livestream@microchip.com, and we will get it to one of these two guys and get you a response. Back to you, Clifford.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I guess some background for our viewers who may not be terribly familiar. Can you give us some background about what Shields Up is?
Sure. Shields Up is an embedded security webinar series. And so what we discuss in that is anything related to security as it relates to the designs that Microchip's clients may be doing.
Right.
It's really all about security, and it can cover a variety of topics. It could be a primer in terms of what does some of this basic technology mean. It could talk about security trends. It could talk about solutions. So a lot of different types of things are covered, all things related to security.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Clifford, the motivation for Shields Up is because when our customer engagements, when we do our customer engagements, the perception of security seems to be varied. To just prove the point, let me ask you, what do you think about security?
That's a good question. I think you're right that security means something different to everyone you ask. But for me, security is kind of like an unsung hero in the design process. It's something you don't necessarily think about, but when you need it, it is the most paramount thing to the actual success of your design. Jeanette, what does security mean to you?
Well, when I first started getting into the security business, it was just about physical protection. I had 2 young children at home and wanted to make sure that their laptops were protected, that people couldn't get into them through the cameras. But since then, it's morphed, and I've learned quite a bit about security and what it means, and it's a great big opportunity for everybody out there.
Absolutely.
And that's precisely the motivation for Shields, right? It's never a bad time to talk about security, but why now? What is the significance of having a webinar series about security right now? We are going into some of these factors. We are talking about a connected explosion, right? We are looking at this inflection point where we see these number of connected, right? We are looking at 2022, right? You can see the chart, it's actually exploding. And so whenever we see the TV, there is never not an ad about 5G, right? Or we talk about Industry 4.0, we hear about cloud migration, everything going to the cloud. What does this mean to us is that with the number of connected nodes that are expanding rapidly, they become easy targets for a security attack. So what happens now is that we now have to talk about or think about securing our IP and our infrastructure, right? We've heard about how a fish tank was used to hack into a casino's database, right? So that's why security is now becoming more and more paramount.
Right. And so having security may seem like a not necessary thing. It's almost an alluring option to cut corners and not include it in your design. Can you guys talk to me a little bit about the real cost of not having a security element in your design?
Sure. I mean, most people, when they think about the cost of security, they see that there's the fines that get implemented upon the companies that have been breached, so the regulatory fines. But if you notice here in this diagram, we're showing an iceberg. That's really just the tip of the costs. And there's a lot of other hidden costs that people may not be aware of. And that will include things like your reputation. And there's studies out there that will show that significant amount of business is lost 2 to 3 years after the breach, because that's how long it takes customers to design you out, to redesign in something else.
Right.
There's all sorts of other costs that you can see there. So the impact of the breach is often not realized until several years, even after it has occurred.
Right. And so the tip of the iceberg, as you said, and I
Yeah.
like the graphic a lot, was regulatory fines. Can you talk a little bit about the other regulation certification standards that are being imposed about security now?
Sure.
I think Anand is frozen. So, Jeanette, do you mind talking about it?
Not at all. So every government has its own set
Sure.
of...
I think with the explosion of the connected nodes,
I think we're having some technical difficulty
It does
hearing
appear so.
Anand. So, Anand, if you will, I'm just going to take this slide, but every different country has different regulations that
Go
we
for
have
it.
to follow and participate in, and you can see several of them listed on this slide. But really what this is really showing is it's a whole bunch, it's a crowd of different regulations,
Right.
certifications, standards, and the thing is they're constantly evolving. What was common a year ago isn't going to be what's going to be in place in another year, and so they're constantly evolving, and more continue to come our way.
So, security at this point to me sort of seems like a incredibly important but kind of like daunting task to actually integrate into your design. Is there like some magical like one-stop shop to get all your security needs, or how do people get started? Like, what happens?
Okay. So, what this slide is showing right here is that unfortunately, security is not a one-size-fits-all. And what customers need to do is they need to take a look at what their designs are, assess the risks, and figure out what level of security they actually want to add
Right.
into their systems. And Anand, are you back with us?
I think so.
Yes, you
There
are.
are several factors. There are several factors that customers and developers need to consider when it comes to security. I'm just talking about one of these factors, right? If you look at the
And we lost audio.
Yeah, so Anand, we've lost your audio again. So what he was showing here with this end market segments is depending upon what segment you're in, you could have different types of security. So for example,
Right.
in that top left-hand corner, you see defense. Well, there you're not necessarily going to be concerned about somebody doing some remote attacks, because once a missile is launched, it's in the air, and so
It's launched.
it's going to be launched, and so you're not going to be as worried about somebody trying to do the physical attacks, but you want to make sure that nobody's got access to it while it is being used.
Right. And so it does still feel kind of like a daunting thing. What can Microchip do to help?
So Microchip actually has a really long legacy of being in the security business. You can see here we've got over 30 years. Our first product was back in 1985. It was a
Wow.
product called Keylock. So yeah, quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And since then, we've acquired more companies, we've acquired more technology, and we've grown our security expertise both organically and inorganically. And we can really utilize that background and that legacy to help our clients develop the best embedded security solution out there for their products.
Cool. And so do you mind taking a little bit of a deeper dive into the particular solutions that Microchip has for security?
Absolutely. And let's see if we have Anand back.
No?
Okay.
That's okay. But we can see you, though, and you
We
look
can
great.
see you, Anand. I wish we could hear you talk, but we have a variety of different products that will be used. And as I mentioned earlier, it depends upon what the risk is and what the threat is you're trying to protect against. So, you can see several different solutions that are here, but depending upon, are you looking for application? Are you looking for cloud security? Are you looking for pre-boot types of security? So whatever that level is that you're trying to protect against,
Right.
we've got a broad portfolio of both products and overall solutions, development tools, and ecosystems to really help our clients be able to design this into their systems.
I love it. And so to tie it back up to the Shields Up webinar series, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff and more. Where can people go to actually get signed up and get started with the webinars?
It's really easy. You just go to microchip.com/shields up, and you can go there and register for our next webinar. The nice thing about this program is that it is global. It may be hard to read on the screen right here, but you can see that we've done a lot of work, especially in Asia,
Right.
so that if customers would like to listen to some of these seminars in their native language, they can see them and hear them in their native language.
It's available. Cool. And so every single link or URL that we talk about in the presentation and going forward in the comments section, we're going to have in the description and make sure that it's very visible for you guys. So keep a lookout for that. And if you can't find it, just email us at livestream@microchip.com. So one final question for you, I guess, from me. Do you mind diving in a little bit about what people are going to see once they sign up and go through this, this webinar process?
Okay.
What's the actual layout like?
Sure, we've actually done quite a bit of upgrades to our system,
Nice.
and now we've migrated to a platform called On24. This is a really rich user experience. It allows you to see the presenter, it allows you to see the slides, and the nice thing about it is if you want to make the slides bigger, you can adjust your screen to see what you want. So if you just want the slides and not anything else, you can adjust that. If you want to read more about the speaker, about who these experts are that are talking to you during these seminars, you can read that. There's a Q&A, so you can actually put in questions there that will be answered throughout the seminar. And there's also resources, and that's one of my favorite things because those engagement tools really allows you to download some of the pertinent information from those sessions.
Right.
And then we followed up with a survey at the end, trying to understand what is it that our customers are looking for and how do we help them best for future seminars, for future Shields Up seminars.
Cool. And so once again, that is microchip.com/shields up. And that concludes our presentation portion. And right now, I'd just like to give a huge thank you to Jeanette and Anand. And I think we're ready for questions, Mr. Pierce.
Yeah, we have a couple here.
Nice.
So one from Vishnu. How much time does it take to get verified by government agencies for security? Are you going to cover that in the seminar, or?
Actually, that's not one that we've actually addressed, so that might be a good topic.
A good future topic.
Yeah, I think it depends, though, on what kind of certification you're going after.
Right.
And Microchip actually goes through and does a lot of certifications ourselves. So we'll do the JIL, we'll do the PCI, we'll do several other types of standards. We also will do the CAVP or the CVMP, and that stands for the modules, the algorithm certifications. And so we'll pre-do that on a lot of our products so that it makes it easier for our customers to go get the FIPS or whatever certification they're looking for.
I dig it.
Yeah.
And we have one from Ashish. Is Shields Up just a forum to push Microchip products?
No.
No.
No. In fact, some of our sessions are just educational. So we've got some great primers that some of our presenters have done, and they talk about what does it mean to have confidentiality? What does that mean? What does it mean to have integrity and attestation or authentication? And that's really important because you need to understand the basics of what security is, but you don't have to have a PhD in security in order to be able to implement some of these solutions.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And we have another one from Ivar. Are there plans to offer such webinars at a time that is convenient to European customers?
That's actually in the works, so stay tuned. We're hoping to roll that out relatively soon.
And the last one, someone actually just went to register for Shields Up. Why does Microchip require them to register for the sessions?
So there's actually two different reasons that we do that. One, that's actually how you get your registration link. So when you register to it, then we'll actually send out this. This service is, this capability is free for our clients, but we do want to make sure that we're servicing them. The second reason, and to me this is probably the most important, is we'll actually use that information to tailor some of the messages.
Cool.
So for example, we talked about Asia. In Japan, there's a very heavy presence of our customers there that have registered that like to hear about automotive. And so we were more focused on security for automotive applications in that region, and we'll tailor them as appropriate depending upon who's registering for some of these seminars.
Makes sense. I like it.
Yep, and we got a tough one from
Nice.
Valentine. Do you have a bug bounty program, or do you use external auditors?
So we actually do a little bit of both. So we will go through and we'll hire some external places for or companies for testing, and then we are also adding, and I don't believe it's on the website yet, but we're in the process of adding that, the ability to go in and have people actually report any errors or any security flaws or breaches that they may discover so that we can address those.
That's huge. I dig it.
Yeah.
Yep. And another one from Aman. Can you explain some Microchip ICs that are available for security solutions?
Sure. So we actually have a variety of different solutions. And again, this goes back to the risk rewards and what are you trying to do. The product line that I support specifically is really for the pre-boot environment. So that'll help protect against things like the Stuxnet types of viruses. We also have parts like the ECC 608 parts that are fabulous secure elements. And so really what those are designed to do is to keep your secret secret. So you can put in your secret keys, you can put in all of that. You can also use those types of parts to do certification, authentication. So if you want to connect to the cloud, some of those come pre-programmed. And then we also have full capability parts. So we have parts that have been designed and tested for POS applications with all the security certifications and protocols necessary for that. So a wide range of devices. And then we also have several that are just cryptographic algorithm capable. So for example, maybe you need an AES or a SHA curve in there, and a lot of our parts have those curves in there.
Nice. Good explanation, by the way.
Thank you.
And yeah, we have one last question from
Wow.
Alex.
Good.
When is the next Shields Up webinar?
Oh, so the next one, they run every 2 weeks.
Nice. Just
So
like coffee
every
break.
Wednesday. So yeah, and luckily they don't compete with coffee breaks. So the next one's actually 1 week from today, February 10th, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's about securing IoT edge-to-cloud devices using Linux.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Any last-minute questions, Pierce?
Nope, that's it.
Well, thank you guys very much. If you think of a question that we didn't get to, just email us at livestream@microchip.com. And I think I have 2 notes of programming. We have birthdays. Microchip's a large company, so theoretically we have birthdays all the time, but I'm going to highlight 2 right now. The first is Michael Wicken, who I dare not ask how old he's turning, but he is the graphics team lead, and he and his team have put together the intro for the coffee break, the outro for the coffee break, if you're familiar with any of our live streams, all the graphics, and even on our website, all the graphics. So a very happy birthday to Michael Wicken. And second of all, Daniel Ho, who's one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and he works on my team, and it's his birthday today. So happy birthday to both of you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And then the second note of programming, this is the first episode of Season 3 of Coffee Break, and so that sort of implies that there's been Seasons 1 and 2. And if you guys missed that and you want to catch up, we have all of the different episodes online, and we can see a nice graphic, or nice video actually, and you can get to this at microchip.com/live stream. And so we have a nice playlist where you can watch absolutely every single video, and it's the perfect thing to perk you up. So, in the previous seasons, I did jokes, and so that's my joke for today's episode. I'd like to give a huge thank you to everybody in front of and behind the camera. It takes a whole team to get this stuff done. And then we'll be seeing you guys again in 2 weeks for another coffee break. So I hope you'll join us. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.